Namaste. Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome. Welcome to my channel. And today is a very special session. Today, we are going to have the final episode in a very long series. And this is a series that has been going on for, I want to say, more than 40 weeks. And today is I believe, about the 42nd episode of my Lenormand series. And in this particular series, there are a couple of extra videos as well too. And the bulk of this Lenormand series is a members only feature. And if you like what you see today, perhaps you would be interested in joining my channel. And know that this is not a permanent thing. You can join for a month. You can join for 2 or 3 months. It's entirely up to you. But there are a lot of bonus videos on my channel that are from a teaching perspective, more of a workshop style. And this is one of them. This is the Lenormand series. And today I'm going to take you through 10 plus steps to really cover well a grand tableau in Lenormand. And we're going to work with the, excuse me, the 8x4+4 tableau. And that is, I want to say it's it's my preferred grand tableau. You can also, of course, do a 9x6, right? So 9x4. I can't do my mathematics today. So if you're new to Lenormand, there's 36 cards in a Lenormand deck, numbered from 6 through ace. So the sixes, sevens, eights, nines, tens, jack, queen, king, and ace. So 9 times 4 suits is 36. Okay, now I want to tell you a little bit about who we are reading for today. I'm sharing this with you and doing an expanded reading for a client whom I met on Sunday. An extremely inspiring person. And I'm going to call her Louise. And I just want to get out her information here. So she is born in 1956. And she is a Capricorn who exhibits no Capricorn signs of Capricorn whatsoever. I really felt that in the reading I did for her the other day, she had evolved through her Capricornness, if that makes any sense. And she had managed some of the greatest lessons of Capricorn. And I was absolutely fascinated with the reading that I did for her. It was very short. It was in person. It was only 30 minutes. And so today we're going to expand on her journey. And so our significator for today will be the woman, the lady. I have set up the grand tableau already so we can refer to houses if necessary. And then I was going to use, just because of the season, the Malefique Lenormand, and I might do a 3-card with this at the end. But I'm going to use Pixie's Lenormand to lay on top of these ones. So the significator will be the lady, and that is important to know. And what we're going to do is I'm going to lay out the cards and I will say what they are. And then we're going to go through my most common 10 steps. And I have cheated a little bit. There is a 4A, B, and C. And those are also listed in the instructions below. So if you wanted to copy and paste that onto some notes or onto a like a Word document or something, you could do that. And if you have any questions about the series, I believe you can actually see the playlist. You just can't access some of the videos if you're not a member. All right, and I will endeavor to put up banners so you know where we are in this. Okay. So the first thing that is most important is that you ask a question. And sometimes honing in on the question is a little challenging. So what I do is I ramble a little bit and I talk about the theme and the person and what's going on. So Louise, She's born in 1956. She has decided that she's going to leave her husband behind because he is steadfast. He is not wanting to evolve. He doesn't go out. He doesn't do things. And she feels at this point in her life, she needs to have a life. She wants to find herself. She wants to play. She wants to have adventure. And so for a short period of time, she has gone from one side of the country to the other. I'm on the West Coast. And she is visiting with a daughter, and temporarily, now I find this really interesting. So she was a nurse. She was a registered nurse in Canada. Temporarily, she is with her daughter, looking after her with a new-ish baby. I didn't get too many details on that, who is a single mother by choice. And I was very proud of her when she determined that this was a temporary situation. It just felt like she was defining boundaries and had really come into her own. So I was just like so proud of her. Like, this is amazing. So what is the question here? The question, she didn't really state a question. I guess part of the question is, am I crazy? Is Louise crazy for doing this at this point in her life? Is there any danger? Are there any warnings? What might lay ahead? And I think doing a Lenormand reading is really good for this because we can look at signs of comfort, danger, things like that. So what lies ahead in Louise's journey? And what is surrounding her at this time? What does she need to pay attention to? And as we go through the steps, you will see, well, we'll just let that unfold. So let me switch this over. And as we go through, if you have if you're going to join the live stream, of course, you can ask questions or ask for clarification live. And let me just try something here. Not that one. Let's do that. Now that's still going to. Okay, so we're not going to have a Sadhana overlay, but my name is Sadhana. Hey there, Mira. So, Mira, I have already laid out a question, and we are going to now go on to lay out the cards and then look at the first step. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to say what the cards are as I place them down. This reading for Louise on the 18th day of October, expanding on her reading on Sunday, looking at this adventure that she has chosen to partake in. Okay. Cutting. And here we go. The Bear, Anchor, and Lilies. So if you are familiar, you can start to formulate a sentence for the bear, the anchor, and the lilies. And I have a little bit of a new setup here, so this is going to take me some time to get used to this. So the house, this is interesting. The house is in its own house. Tree is in its own house. Okay. Coffin, the fox, and the lady. So the lady is in the last column on the top row. Okay, so that will be significant. The bouquet is in the bouquet. So this is the third card that I have laid down that is in its own house. And that is very unusual. The book, the ship, the key, the gentleman. All right, so this is also significant because her husband is in the heart of the reading, which is very interesting. The fish, mountain, and the ring, the garden, tower, dog, Moon, Whip, Cross Letter Clover, Rider, Child, Sun, Heart. So this is also important here. So we're looking at the house of the lady, and in the stork. The stork is in the house of the lady, and the lady is in the house of the coffin. So that's something that we're going to look at. Mice, clouds, and crossroads. Oh, there's so many amazing things we can do here. So the key is the birds, the fish. In the house of the fish, we have the scythe, the snake, and the stars is in the house of the cross, which is really kind of auspicious. Okay. Hi, Vange. All right. So again, Louise. Okay. So we'll, I thought I had I'm sure you can see the bottom row. We'll deal with it. I thought I had moved the cards sufficiently. All right. So first 3 cards, we have Bear plus, let me get my chopstick, Anchor. These are both very weighty cards, and the Lilies. The Lilies is a sign of winter, and I want to say also, metaphorically, I'm just looking to see what is it. This what is? I'm just curious with my new setup. What? Oh, it's the cord. That's what it is. Just let me adjust and see if I can get that out of the camera. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. It's going to take me a little while to get used to my new setup, but hopefully we'll get that dialed in quickly. It's not that different. I just changed my tables. Sorry. There you go. That might be a little bit better. As I lay those down, I was thinking about a tremendous amount of weight and responsibility. Like these first 3 cards feel kind of heavy. And I'm wondering if that reflects the weight on her shoulders. It feels uncomfortable to me. Uncomfortable. And sorry, I'm a little anal with the camera thing, and this makes me feel, can I say it makes me feel bad for her? All right. And why? Why? Because I want her to feel light. I want her to feel positive. And so there is an overbearing sense of, I feel responsibility now. Responsibility is not always connected to the anchor. The anchor is her foundation. And I guess this also reflects her sense of maturity. So perhaps, what can I say? This to me this helps me to understand why she came in for a reading. She has not reached that place of lightness yet that she deserves. And I feel like when she left the tarot reading, she did get there. So I want to keep that in mind. Bear, Anchor, Lilies. As we go through the reading. And I'm also wondering if there's a little bit of fear that she has endeavored and taken on this journey a little bit too late in life. So that's something that okay. It helps me to understand her better. Now, let's go and I want to expand on number 2. So this is what I already mentioned, that the lady is here. in the corner, in the top left corner, and she's in the house of the coffin. And so what that tells me is that what she has chosen to end is highly significant. You know, it's almost as if um, she has been rebirthed. I think that's a really good way to look at that. Very powerful that she's sitting in the house of the coffin. Now, also, what I want to do, and I just touched on this, we went down here. So, the lady, right? So, what is in the house of the lady is stork. And that makes perfect sense. So there is change in the house of the lady. There is change in, I mean, we can speak in Lenormand terms, but I think that speaks volumes. So we know that she is, hi Joan, she is, she's on path. And remember too that I have already done a reading for her. So what I determined in the tarot reading was that she, um, it just felt like she was being guided by the stars. That's what it felt like. Okay. So from there, now, if I were doing this reading and sending it to someone, I would write down these sentences as I was going. And I might write it down in point form, and then I would edit it and try to bring it together in more of a narrative. So I love doing Lenormand readings by email. Um, just there's just so much juiciness into this. Now the lady is in the corner, one of the corners, and I think that is that brings her into the significance of the narrative. Now, while having the significator here on the far right side of the reading is not optimal, some readers may reshuffle and do it if the significator shows up in the far right row. But I think that tells us a lot. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. So let's go through step 3, read the corners. So we have a mother bear. We have a mother bear. We have also an overbearing woman. You know, she to me, I told you that she's a Capricorn, but it feels to me like she's evolved through her Capricorn energy and is moving really into the highest frequency of that. And I need to sit and think about what that might mean. What is the highest frequency of Capricorn? Because it's not something that you see very often. Now, the bear in the other corner, we have the rider. And the rider is a sense to me of movement. Movement. And if you look what's in the other corner, it's the crossroads. And so there is a movement along the journey of the strong woman, right? So the strong woman is in a place of movement and adventure. She is not staying still. The rider, right, is in the house of the ring. And to me, the rider showing up there shows us a commitment to this journey, a commitment. And I think that if she were here and listening to this, that might feel kind of good. And the crossroads card is in the moon. And I want to tell you a little bit. We'll see if that comes up in this reading. But I really feel like this shift of energy, because the moon card is one of the cards. Hi, Benny Kisses. The moon is one of the cards that is used for career. Now she is retired. She's a retired registered nurse. But what I was picking up the other day was that her new, if you want to call it career, is beginning and it has more of a spiritual bent. And I was picking up on shamanic energy, but we'll see where we go here. So she is definitely, this very strong woman is in this place of embarking on a new road, a new path. And I want to say that this might also be happening quite quickly. And even more so, she definitely is committed to this. It's also significant that the bear is in the house of the rider. Now, I was saying when I was reading these first three cards that it felt like a little bit of weight, heaviness almost. But the bear in the house of the rider seems to lighten it up a little bit. So that feels kind of good to me. Okay, step 4A. So we're going to find the significator and read the 9 card around the significator. Now we have only 3 cards around the significator because it has shown up in the top right corner. Now there's a few other strategies we can employ, but what I'm going to do is just simply look at what is around her, and then we'll go on to the next steps. Um, I there is a method of moving cards around to create a 9 card, but I think using a wraparound method, but because of where it is, it just moves and upsets a lot of cards in the reading. So I think for this point, we're just going to notice that the fox. So she is she's a very clever woman. And I feel that this has been in the works for some time. Like she has been planning this exit. And this shows me her level of, this is thought through. This feels thought through. Now there is, unfortunately, we have a club, and a club, and we'll get to that in a moment. Um, but it's just something that I'm noticing right away. The mountain. So there is a circle here. The ring represents a circle. The ring represents a level of commitment. This is a challenging commitment. Perhaps this is a challenging commitment for the woman. To stay committed to this journey is a challenge because she has been you can, and I believe she was married really, really young. Sorry, I'm mixing up different clients I read for on Sunday. Um, maybe not so much. I'm going to say she's been married about 40 years. We can do the math. Let's say 19. She was born in 19. It doesn't really matter. She's been married a long time. So it would make sense that there is an obstacle to her level of commitment. And if you want to determine what that obstacle might be, we can look at what is around. The path, the mountain is knighted to the path, so it might actually be. I'm wondering if it has to do with the health of her husband. We'll get to that in just a little bit. So around the woman, we cannot create a 9 card, but we do know that she is a clever woman. There is some sort of obstacle to the commitment, and that she must be very in navigating this journey. So we have mountain plus fox. In navigating this journey, she's going to have to be quite clever in how she negotiates. And this is interesting because in Libra season, and perhaps this is coming up sooner than later. The reason I'm saying that is because all of this seems to be behind her, and she is right here on the end of the reading. So this to me feels like right now, almost as if this is, the end of Libra season, where we are uh, showing us kind of this is now, this is the present, and that is exactly what we're looking at. Okay. Now, when I'm also doing the 9 card around the significator, I want to look at suits and numbers and other cards of influence. And what I mean by this is that what I just said, she is surrounded by clubs. And that is not a good thing. That shows a tremendous, that shows challenges. just that in itself, regardless of what the cards are, the fact that the lady has 3 clubs around her is, again, it reinforces what I was feeling here, a sense of weightiness. We don't want to be surrounded by clubs. They are indeed challenging. So um, I want to think about, if she were here, I want to remind her about self-care, what she can do to find a sense of lightness. Um, yeah, and also, so we're all black in this corner as well too. And all black is, again, it's heavy. It's heavy. So, um, compassion, I think, is really important. And I think the planning of the next steps is also hugely important, right? Because it would seem to indicate that there are some obstacles ahead. Now, even though we have the clover below the circle seeming to lighten things up, and we'll look at all those cards in just a moment. Now, also, so what else is significant? We have a 9, an 8, and an ace. We have 2 aces. Of course, the lady is an ace and she has an ace underneath her. Aces to me are great cards to show up in the 9 card around the significator. We want to see aces. Aces are connected to the sun, they're connected to summer. They're connected to lightness, focus, purpose. So I like that there's an ace right underneath here. That feels really good to me. So examine the suits, numbers, and other cards of influence around the significator. So we're simply right now looking at the 9 card around the lady, and we don't have a 9 card. We only have 3 cards. Okay. If you are interested in what this method is, this kind of wrap around method is, I hope I can do this without messing myself up. But what we can do is we would bring these 2 cards over, and you can see that that puts the bear right next to the lady, and it reinforces the reading that we have with the bear, the corner reading that we already did. Okay. It brings invitations, it brings a sense of beauty. I love that it brings feminine energy closer to her. And we still have a lot of, it's all black still, right? So that hasn't changed the influence of the reading. And then we need cards above. Now, because we've done an 8x4 plus 4 PK reading, we can't even fill this in. So what I want to say here is that this is fine the way it is. It's not meant to be filled in. We could bring up the clouds and the crossroads up here. That brings another club really close to her. So this is indeed going to be a challenging journey, no matter how you slice it. However, definitely has her uh, she has her wits about her. And she has a ton of experience. She is, I want to say, a great, mm, intuitively, I felt, there's a sense of nervousness. And that's why she wanted to pop in for a reading. I don't think it was just a fun little thing. She needed somebody to say, you've got this. And I feel like we do. We do have some "you've got this" cards here, so I don't feel too nervous about that at all. Okay, so let's go on. So 4C, observe any significant knightings or diagonals originating from the main 9 card. So again, we don't have a 9 card. So we want to look at the diagonals originating from here as well as any knightings. So let's go diagonal first. So we have mountain, cross, and lady. Again, lots of clubs. And down below that, we have stork and scythe. So what is significant here to me is that the lady and the house of the lady are connected. And I know we go down into the essence of the reading and we see the scythe down at the bottom, but in the 8 by 4, we have this kind of brilliant connection connecting the lady into the house of the lady. And so I like that. So, what is sandwiched between that is the cross and the mountain. And these are two very heavy cards, cross and mountain. Right? There is a weight to this reading that feels overwhelming. And I'm wondering if all was revealed when I met with her. This change carries tremendous what house is the cross in? Let's just go here. Because there's another aspect to this. Ooh. Okay, so we're in 22. The crossroads. Okay. Isn't that interesting that the cross is in the house of the crossroads? All right, I'm going to share something with you that I think I've already mentioned it. I was feeling that part of this shift, part of this adventure was leading in a spiritual direction. And I think I mentioned shamanic energy. I just kept picking up on working with fire, circles, gatherings, and things like that. So we might want to have a look at what's going on with the garden card, her public life, and so forth. But I'm jumping ahead. Are there any? Okay, so let's finish this diagonal. So the diagonal is changing. I want to say a changing of spirituality. And this also feels like this is going to be a lonely journey. Like this journey, this shift that she has embarked upon is indeed a spiritual one. It's not about seeking out and finding a new partner to share and enjoy life with. I feel that the journey is the essence of the story. Okay, so she has this the commitment to this change, um and it feels too like that scythe down. I'm looking at the cards on my computer, like the scythe is gathering in the change. Also, the scythe representing the season of autumn, the harvest season. What is being harvested itself is actually the change, flowing with change and allowing spiritual change to grow. She was not spiritual before. She used the word woo woo, and she talked about a discomfort with that. So spirituality in itself might be a bit of a mountain. Does that make sense? Spirituality itself, changing of spirituality itself might be a bit of a mountain for the lady. Knighting. So it's kind of sweet. So where I was going was Lady Fish, which is a nice card to have here. And she's also knighted to the letter. So we have a sense of flow. We have a sense of abundance. We have a little bit of luck. We have optimism connected to this bit of flow. This bit of flow is also connected to the moon, which I addressed because the crossroads card was in the house of the moon. So I feel like, again, this is more information that something is changing with her. I'm going to use the word career. And I wish I had brought the spread that I did for her. I did a what do you call it? A tech practice spread for her in a 4-3-2-1, and I love that spread. It just really shows a sense of development with the tarot, and it surprised me that what I picked up on was a sense of spiritual leadership. So, and she would be perfectly capable of taking that on. Okay, number 5. Ready? Observe what is hanging over her. The truth is that nothing is. There is nothing over her. She is on top of everything. And to me, in Lenormand, that speaks volumes. She's on top of the mountain. She is on top of this commitment. And there isn't a thing on her weighing her down. And that is really beautiful. So this is a very positive reason for not reshuffling, because this is such powerfully positive news, if you will. She is embarking on a whole new adventure. She's sitting in the house of the coffin. So everything is in the past. Now, does this mean that all of this is buried? Does it mean that there is a lot that is buried? Maybe, but I don't feel that. I feel like this shows us it reinforces what I was saying earlier about the fact that unless she had told me what her birth date was, I would have never guessed that she was a Capricorn by her physical body, the way she talks, her attitude, anything, or anything that showed up in the reading. Okay. All right. Next, number 6. Read the row and the column of the significator. All right, so let's do the row first. We've already had a look at Bear Anchor Lilies. And I mentioned as I was laying the cards down that the house is in the house of the house. The house is in its own house. The tree is in its own house. Okay, and we have the coffin showing up. And that is significant because she is in the house of the coffin. So what has come to an end, I want to say. And I want to look at this house tree coffin card. You know, she's left a grand, I got the feeling like a very large house in a small community behind. Like I think she said comforts of life. I have left all of my comforts of life. I'm like the fool, you know. She didn't say that, but you know, that's what she was describing. She has nothing. She left everything behind because she wanted to remove herself from the stagnancy. And that is so un-Capricorn like. Capricorn loves the creature comforts, as does Taurus as well too. So, and I did not take the time to look at her astrological chart and on other signs, but we did talk a little bit about, she shared something about there was quite a bit of Leo in her, maybe her ascendant was Leo, I'm not sure. She didn't have the detailed information. So in this row, what do we know? We know that we have a strong woman who is mature, who is in the winter of her life, who I want to say is has her feet on the ground. This feels very Capricorn to me here, actually. And she is established. This shows establishment. Now, with the tree and the coffin next to each other, this could represent ill health. But what I'm picking up on in regards to this particular reading is that the house, this also connects to ancestors. So if you think of the tree and the roots of the tree and the family tree and all of that. So she's separated herself from all connections, right? She's created distance. And remember, the mountain, as we look at that, also plays a part into distance and a sense of isolation. And we can look to the tower and where the tower is sitting as well, too. right? So the Tower is in the house of the dog. Okay. And this is bizarre. This is bizarre. So the Tower's in the house of the dog, and the dog is in the house of the Tower. I've never had a Lenormand reading like this, where there's all these house card correspondences. So very, very many of them. Maybe I can think of one reading, but so the row. What does this row tell us? This row simply confirms everything that we have already discussed, and I think with these three cards here, we need to be mindful that if if you were reading for her, that there is a level of respect. I want to say humility, honoring this enormous decision that she has made. Yes. So Mira, yes, of course. So not only family, but she has isolated herself from friends and from the town, the small town from which she comes, right? So what is in the column of her, right? So as I mentioned, she's in the column that is all the way on the right side. And this column is really kind of beautiful. This is a committed woman. This is a lucky committed woman who is embarking on a new path. A lucky, yeah, a woman who has come full circle, who is embarking on a new path. And interesting, I also, and remember that this is in the house of the moon, perhaps embarking on a new path that will lead her to a new career as well, too. One of the things that I have always in the back of my mind is the court card associations. And those of you that have been studying with me for some time know, so we have put movies, like characters in movies, to the court cards, most of them anyway. And when I think of the association for the crossroads, it makes me smile because here it gives me a sense of lightness. The Queen of Diamonds is the youngest, lightest queen. Um, um, And okay, bear with me. Okay, this is a little deeper than I wanted to go today. Um, and we also have this player over here. This gives me hope for her because this is the young, light, playful queen who is apt to change directions quickly, meeting up with the rider, who is the younger man who is apt to change directions quickly. I wonder if she might have an affair um, with a younger man or several of them, and this might be something that she has looked for. And I can say quite naturally, that she wouldn't probably have said to me that she's dying for physical connection and a passionate relationship. But when I think about this is very interesting. We also see that the lady, so let's go back to the corners, the lady is really is in connection with the rider. And the rider can be someone who's just simply passing through, very much a part of, a fleeting relationship, kind of like Knight of Fire in Lenormand. Okay. All right, let's go on. I should have blocked out more time for this. All right, heart and essence. So I like to compare and contrast. Some people like to read the essence. So the essence are these four cards at the bottom. The heart are these four cards in the center. And some people like to read the essence at the very end as the final message. And you might wish to do that. But I'm always curious about the relationship between the heart and the essence. And so let's look at that right now. So um, the key has to do with the husband. Okay, I want to go a little deeper with this because it's important that you know what house these cards are in, because this can give us some information. So this is the birds, right? So this is what people are talking about. People are talking about this door that she opened. There's some chatter about this, and I'm wondering if she has received some snarky messages or something like that through what is new, what is new, what is fresh. Oh my goodness gracious. Um, I'm sure you know where I could possibly go there. Now, the husband is in the house of the child. I wonder, and the husband is also beneath the tree. I wonder if the husband has a bit of what do you call it? Dementia. If there is any, I mean, if there was early onset, if there was Alzheimer's, I'm sure she wouldn't be leaving. Maybe, I don't know. Interesting that the husband is in the house of the child. The husband is like a child, as opposed to going with the interpretation that she is looking, that there may be a new husband down the road, which is where I wanted to go because of what I was picking up with the young love. Now, the moon, we already talked about this. So the moon is sitting in the house of the crossroads. And so, yes, she is determined. She is embarking on a new journey. And then also in the heart, we have the whip. Okay, so this speaks to repetitive challenges with men, the key. So at the heart of this reading, there's going to be repetitive challenges, perhaps with her husband, who maybe he's not in support of this. I think verbally, intellectually, he agreed, but I don't think in his heart of hearts. And notice how he is knighted to the heart as well, too. And the heart is in the house of the gentleman. So that's kind of sad. Now, can we contrast with what's going on down below? So notice how the birds are down below, and the birds are in the house of the key. So, like I was saying, this is an incredible reading. We have so many repeating messages. The birds is in the house of the key. So that says that, the solution here is communication. And then we have so let's read this. So birds can also refer to couple, pair of, what is being collected in okay, there's a few things here. The stars in the cross takes me back to what I was saying about the spiritual nature of this. And so perhaps reading these two outside cards, one of the keys to navigating this difficult journey is to actually share the journey. We were having a conversation about blogging, journaling, sharing her. You know how people do like vlogs of their journey? That feels kind of important here. Also, because this is this is the couple card. This is also the heart. We're talking in a relationship here. I am wondering if the key to finding more comfort in this adventure is actually sharing it with her husband. I don't feel entirely wonderful that we have the scythe and the snake sitting down there at the bottom. I don't know how that is going to play out. Now, the point of the scythe is going towards a snake, so it almost looks as if the snake is being killed. The snake is being eradicated rather quickly. And I wonder what the snake represents. I like that, Mira. Yes. Yes. Falsehoods are being cut away so that she can embark on this journey of truth. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Falsehoods. Um, Beautiful. Falsehoods are being cut away so she can embark on this journey of truth. So there is quite a different message in the heart as opposed to the bottom of the reading. So I like to look at them together to see if they repeat each other or, yeah, okay. I need to go on, and I'm just going to go through this really quickly. We're going to get to the final step because I'm doing live readings in 10 minutes on my channel, tarot readings. So, or is it in half an hour? Just a second here. I just need to think out loud. No, it's fine. It's fine. We have lots of time. We have lots of time. It's not until 1:30. Now, select a timing method and determine its influence. We talked in the series about lots of different timing methods, and I touched briefly on a couple of things here. One, that the ace is below her, the ace is referred to summer, and also that she is like the past is all behind her. So those are a couple of timing things that I want to look at. But also, I want to look at the quadrant that she is in. So she is in the third quadrant, and I want to see if we can gain any information. And this is going to be a little bit awkward, but I'm just going to slide that over and see if this is significant at all. So in this theory, this is the fourth quadrant, and the star is going to connect to the messages in the fourth quadrant, and the snake is we're going to read the snake in the quadrant where the lady is now. So she's here. This is where she is. And it's kind of nice that we do have something to read that is ahead, and that which is ahead is this section. Okay. So this is sort of yet to come. And this would be, I did not determine months, and that's something I didn't set up at the beginning, but I'm going to say this is very near future. This is now, and this is going to be within the next 3 months. So right now, there may be, and let's also look at the interpretation of the snake as the professional woman. The professional woman, because that is indeed what she is. She is a retired professional. And it's almost as if the snake is surveying this quadrant. And something about the fox here as well, too, feels, and it's interesting. I don't know if surly is the right word. Interesting. Like I didn't feel like she was deceiving me in any way. I didn't feel like she was do you know, like trying to one up on me? I didn't feel that energy. But now when I look at this, I'm wondering if there is a fear. There is a fear in her heart of, because she has stepped away from all that she knows. And so, because she is no longer the professional woman, is she going to be okay? And in this quadrant, we have a lot of concern. We either have an abundance of death, we have a flow of change. We're showing that a significant amount of things are coming to an end. We already looked at this, right? So it's really important to navigate the obstacles and the journey itself with care. And the fact that the snake sits over all of this really, I don't want her to rush through anything. Like, taking time feels really important here. Looking ahead to the fourth quadrant, we see that there is fortune on the path. Is there any concern in this quadrant? Let's look at that. So I want to ask you this. What is eating away at this spiritual journey? If indeed that's what this is. And I feel like with the star over top of all of this, it feels almost like this, to me, this is the path card. And what is ahead is indeed getting clarity about her true path, getting clarity about her true north. And I love that we have the star over top of, just that these two cards are knighted and the stars over top feels amazing. Okay. Now, where are the challenges here? We do have the clouds underneath the letter. So we have she's going to have to be dealing with bad news. There will indeed be challenges from home. And I think that there may be repetitive trips back and forth to home, which is going to be quite expensive as well, too. Now, the mice, is it necessarily a negative thing that the mice are eating away at her burdens? I want to read a different interpretation here. The mice are gnawing away at the burdens. Are the burdens, if you read the cross as burdens, are the burdens gnawing, or are the mice diminishing the burdens? Or is there something that is kind of irritating in a way? I feel like this speaks to her discomfort as well with spirituality. Like, this is not anywhere where she has grown up. So one of the things I advised her was to take this in baby steps. Okay, so Mira offers diminishing doubt. With the clouds. Okay. Diminishing doubt. Notice that this is the blue side, this is the dark side. So again, we have the dark side of the clouds next to the crossroads, which tells us that, like we've seen many times in the reading, that this is not going to be a skip through journey. There's going to be obstacles all along the way. The mice is between the card of change and the clouds. And there will be repetitive clouds. This is the light side, however. Is the doubt diminishing? Perhaps. But for me, the best bit in the fourth quadrant, and this is the influence that I'm talking about, that I want, especially because I have done another reading for her, is the relationship between the crossroads, the star, and the cross. Indeed, encouraging her to embark, sign up for any workshops that will support her spiritual journey. Okay. Now, these things that we're picking up on today are by no means the only things we can do in this reading. When you do a grand tableau, if you can leave, if you can have about 2 hours, and I mean, you can go back to it for multiple days and read and read and read, depending on questions as they arise, as long as you stay focused on the main theme that you spoke or you wrote when you were shuffling and dealt the cards. Okay, so now we're going to go to the 9th step, which is to reduce the tableau. And let's just put these back here. And I really like this step because it's a lot of cards and it can be overwhelming and quite intimidating for most readers. And I think by reducing the tableau, by counting round, you have, it gives a more focused reading. Okay. Now you don't have to choose 9. You can choose a smaller number. You could choose a 5 or a 7, but the smaller the number, the more cards you are going to get. The rule of thumb is the rule is odd number. So you could do 11 and then you're going to end up with 3 cards. We're going to do 9, so we'll end up with 5 cards. All right. And so I'm going to show you how that is done. And we did this the last 2 classes as well too. Okay. So we start with the lady, and the houses now become insignificant. And I'm just going to take these cards and put them to the side, and then we'll push all the other cards out of the way. Okay. So I said we're going to count by 9. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's interesting. We're going to have a lot of familiar cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that leaves us 5 cards. And I am going to just swoosh this all away. And we're going to put these 5 cards here. And we will zoom in on that. Okay. So what is in the center of the 5 card is the clover. And I kind of like, this has been a very challenging reading with lots of clubs in it. And I don't want to diminish the challenges of the reading. I will answer Bunny Kiss's question in just a second. Okay. I will come back to that. what I was saying was, because there were a lot of club cards in significant positions, I don't want to diminish the challenges that lay ahead. You know what I mean? I don't want to sugarcoat a reading when it's a challenging reading. And what has happened here in the reduction, in the counting round method, is that I feel a greater sense of lightness. We have a significant number of, so these cards were all in the final row, the final column. And so we have seen these cards before, and we know that these are important cards. And the card that is new here is the house. So the house, the house of the lady of the house. And this taps back to this whole Capricorn thing. She does like her creature comforts. She is a lady of the house. And notice that this is King of Hearts energy. So this tells me that she's not the cold snake. She's not the sly fox. She does have a heart. There's this beautiful connection here between the lady and the King of Hearts. And the house, the King of Hearts, she left behind in her large house. And I want to comfort her and say that that's okay. That's okay. She is, as we've already determined, committed to this path, committed to this new journey. And there is a sense of luck, positivity, and lightness about all of this. I don't think there is a need to worry. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to do the last step, and then I'm going to address Bunny Kiss's question. So let's go to the 10th step. And these are just some of the methods, right? I want to repeat that. There's lots of different ways that we can wind up a reading, but this is a great way to wind up. So what we're going to do is math. So ace is 1, ace is 2, so that's 8 and 12. Queens are 12, so that's 8 and 12 is 20. And king is 13, so that is 33. Now that's kind of a nice number. And because we don't reduce in Lenormand, but there's something about that. I kind of like that we are at 33. Oh my God, what a mess of cards I have here. Okay. So there's a couple of things you can do. If you want to work with numerology, which is not something I tend to do, you can talk about the master number 33. That's for sure something you can do. But what I tend to do is I'm just getting the card for you so you can look at it. And this has been a significant card in this reading. So you can take the 33rd card, which is this one, and think of a blessing or an affirmation or some words of support for the querent. Because we saw the key in the heart of the reading. And we had, which was in the house of the birds. And also you may recall that the birds was in the house of the key. So this is a significant card in this particular reading. And so all of these cards, we can just double check the math if you like. 1 plus 1 plus, so that's 8 and 12 is 20. Yeah, it's 33. It's 33. Okay, so if you want to join in, you can think of a blessing. Embrace each door as it opens. Embrace each door as it opens. You, dear Louise, hold the key. And that's how I would wind up the reading. It's just really, it's just a nice summation. And I have to say that if you are doing um, if you are doing an email reading or you are recording the reading, then it's a beautiful way to wind up. Okay. Now I want to go to the comments because I know I want to address this one. Okay. So in the series, we went through this in quite a bit of detail, and there are an abundance of techniques that are built into the 8x4+4. And it's interesting because when I was beginning with Lenormand, I always did 9x6. Sorry. Yes. No, 9x4. I always did 9x4, not 8x4+4, because in the 9x4, you can divide the cards into 12, 12, and 12. And so the center 12 represent the present, the 12 on the right represent the future, and the 12 on the left represent the near past, or whatever language you want to put around that. And I kind of like that until I started working with the 8x4+4 and found, I want to say, deeper connections and more ways to work with this. And also, that gives you the heart of the reading, which you don't have in a 9x4. So yes, so there are different techniques and different ways of laying out cards. There's also an abundance of techniques for reading that I didn't include today. And we went over a lot of them. So like I said, there's 40 plus videos in this series. And I know there's lots of different other readers out there that are sharing Lenormand strategies on YouTube. So you can have a look at that as well too. But I have to say that I have come to really enjoy and I prefer. I do. I prefer the 8x4+4. It's just something that I've come to work with more. Yeah. And it's not my technique. This is an old system of reading. And from what I have learned is that the 8x4+4 is the older of the two styles for the Grand Tableau. The 9x4 is can I say newer? I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah. If there are any other questions, I have a couple of minutes if you would like to ask, but I wanted to do a 3-card with the Maléfique Lenormand just to close up our time together today. Okay. I'm going to overhand shuffle because it's a very stiff deck. This is the Maléfique Lenormand. And I believe, who is the publisher? Yes, it is US Games. This is the Maléfique. I think it's a great Halloween Lenormand. Yeah. Samhain Lenormand. Okay. All right. As we, on this 18th day of October, move through the last week of Libra season, and I feel as if can I say the shit is hitting the fan with a lot of relationship issues. At the end of Libra season, there feels like we want to clear things up. And isn't it interesting that this is the reading that really struck me from this week? Do you lay out Kipper this way as well, or is that a whole different ball game? Kipper's a whole different ball game. Yeah. Okay. I don't read with Kipper cards. I know very little about it, so I would go and do maybe start with The Truth in Story, Kelly Fitzgerald. That might be a good place to study Kipper. Okay, as I was saying, so end of Libra season, right? A lot of stuff with relationships is because we're coming to the end of Libra season. It's like we want to figure this out. And I'm going to talk about this in the next hour as I go into yes, I can do a quick card for you, Mira. As we wind up Libra season, there's this need to declare one's truth and one's voice. Anyway, I just want to pull three cards. I want to pull three cards for the collective to see if there is some practical information to help us in any relationships that are we're still feeling immensely uncomfortable with. We haven't been able to declare our truth. And I can think of two in my life that I'm focusing on. Ooh. And the cards did a really, really weird shuffle. I mean, a weird cut. All right. So we have the rider, the ship, and the child. And I think this might have something to do with Mercury now moving out of its shadow. Mercury is also in Libra. All right. So we have two cards of movement, and we have the child. New movement. To me, if you are thinking of leaving, if you are thinking of moving on, what comes to mind is a friendship group that no longer serves. Like maybe you belong to a book club and you just cannot go to one more book club meeting because it just brings you down. It does not support your energy. So to me, this is a new movement forward, and that it is important to commit to that change. This is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah. Okay. Let's do a quick 3-card for Mira, and then we'll wind that up for today. So Mira asked, where should I focus my energy this week? I have a week vacation at home and just wonder if there's anything in particular. Sure. Okay. US games card stock, it doesn't matter whether it's little Lenormand cards or tarot cards. It's not my favorite. All right, so Mira, this is for you. This is the final 3 cards for today. So we have the cross, the snake, and the tree. Wow. Okay. Can I say digestion? Something to do with digestion? That snake to me looks like the intestines. I'm thinking of health. I'm thinking of stomach health. I'm also picking up on there's an anger here. This is weird. You know, there's so much intuitive stuff that's just coming through. Your health is under stress. Okay. So I'm going to just go with my first hit here, and that is to nourish your digestion. To nourish your digestion. Remember, Lenormand is simple. It's straightforward. And there is a burden, right? There's a health burden. And to me, you know, that's exactly what that looks like. So, soups, right? Maybe have some fun with your cooking, and take some time to create, put together some healthy recipes. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that these 10 steps give you a process for taking apart a grand tableau, at least an 8x4+4 grand tableau. Okay. And if you need more support, there are a bunch of other videos that you have access to if you join my channel as a member. And I really appreciate all of you that have done that already. And I see Audrey renewed her membership today, and I want to thank you very much for that. And I will see some of you very shortly. I'll be on for live intuitive tarot readings in just a few minutes. Take good care and namaste.